music you're listening to right now was previously unreleased. This was a video I didn't actually think I was gonna make one day, but here we are. The idea of releasing this unreleased music started when I was doing the Apple Fitness Plus challenge earlier this year. Some of the background music I had playing over some of those videos were from the unreleased album, and I was getting requests about, hey, where can I stream this? I released this music directly on my website as something that you would pay as an anthology, as a complete set from all 3 previous albums, to then adding this bonus material. But I received enough requests over the last year about listening to it, I decided to be in the Christmas spirit given the season. And you know, it's been a year, why not just give it to all of you now? Streaming is the future, streaming is the now. People don't really buy music unless they want to. And I don't really like the idea of having music just sitting on my hard drive or maybe exclusively behind a paywall now. I don't know, my mind shift is starting to change about how I want to present music. My goal as an artist is to get whatever I've been working on out to all of you, to as much of you as possible, and feel like I'm clearing my table at the same time, so to say. So what is this Trilogy bonus demo thing? See, when I was working on these Dawn projects, it started as a single album that then kind of evolved into something else, and then I felt like doing it maybe one more time refined, and then that was that. But as it is when you write an album, not every song you write, if you're a musician, you know this, not every song you write will make the final cut of the album. It can be because about pacing or themes of the music. There's a lot of reasons why something might be left off of a record. But in today's society, at least how I see it, I don't like the idea of not releasing something that's still good. So I took all the songs over the last 3-ish years that I had written, and all the ones that were salvageable, that had some type of structure, those ones left untouched is what I'm presenting to you here, which is why they're considered more like demos. I didn't rework them, I didn't polish them up. Other than mastering it for the album, I didn't really do anything with it. This is how it was when I wrote it, either on a live stream or by myself. The artistic approach about doing these instrumental albums in the past was about showing my writing process, which is why I live streamed them. That cultivated itself into this thing that kind of became bigger than an isolated approach to something. It became, not that it was expected, but to me it became more of a community-driven idea. And technically, even now, it has now been every single year since 2020 that I put out an album that had to do with this whole theming of things. However, I will say this really is the last time, because I don't really have any other instrumental music that I wrote that is at least worth putting out to streaming services. This is it. This is everything that I've pretty much had on my hard drive that had to do with those 3 other albums. Anything else that is not out right now that I've been writing on is something I'm working on as my own thing, polishing up, going forward. It does not fit the theme of this Dawn analogy. I knew I was gonna forget specifics of this, so I actually had to pull up some of the quotes that I had written on the website about these albums, just to recap what this is all about, these tracks and these albums. When I was waiting for the Dawn back in 2020, writing during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, when the world went into lockdown, these songs were written on live streams. So it was something I was doing to kill the time. Not very original from what other artists were doing, but all the same, I did it to kill the time. I had people hanging out with me back then, watching me write these things, and that's what kind of kickstarted this whole thing. New Dawn, that came out in 2021, these songs were written between the years of 2014 and 2021. They were various demos from separate projects that I was working on, showcasing the creative growths between either my earliest demos or the latest song that I had written at that time. I had structured that album that the first song you hear was the most recent song I had written at the time, and the last song on that album was the first song I had ever written at that time. So you can see my evolutionary growth as a musician. The thing about New Dawn is I was actually working on that album first before I was working on Waiting for the Dawn. The first album was just strictly live streams, and I put it together and I put it out there. But before that ever happened, I had the idea of writing a concept album of instrumentals that was telling a story through the titles of those songs. And that's what New Dawn ended up being. I used to write music under my band Time After Ashes, and then I was doing my own thing, and then just things in between. All that was just collectively put together and packaged out as that. But then the last one, Neon Sunrise, that came out in 2022, this is a combination of everything that I had learned throughout the years, compiled into the best structured songs and streams when they were written, which is more or less the most refined process of everything to date. So on this particular record now, this Trilogy compilation of demos, it's showcasing all the songs that didn't make the cut on either one of those 3 albums. So I took it upon myself to, at least if you were with me during the writing process of any of that, I labeled them not just for the demo titles that I had them as, but I also labeled them from what era they were assigned to. So you can hear them when you go back and you listen to those albums, pair the songs that weren't making it to the final cut, and you can hear how they kind of fit into that theme. Anyways, it just so happens that they were more or less equally balanced out, where 3 to 4 tracks each from each album didn't make the cut. And it's a pleasant, I arranged it in a way that made it a good, maybe seamless 25 minutes of listening. So this is my little extra icing on the cake, so to say, to share with all you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this whole writing process over the last couple of years. If you've been with me since the beginning, during 2020, or if you're just joining me now, it's all there to enjoy at your convenience, however you want. Instrumental music has always been a very strong personal passion of mine because I'm a songwriter and sometimes an instrumentalist. I use more than one tool or instrument to write something. And as a singer-songwriter, I really default on the instrumentals that I wrote prior that make up the final cut. Perfect example, Neon Sunrise, the title track from the album, turned into Like You've Always Done because I was vibing more structure to that song. So that's how I write music. All that to say, this was a fun project. It was fun when I did it a couple years ago, when I started it. It was fun when I concluded it last year. And it's fun giving you one last-ish final piece now, this time. So enjoy. Go stream it. And I hope you find as much pleasure in feeling all those different vibes as I did when I was writing them. Even though this dawn analogy concept thing is concluded, we're not done writing music. I'm moving forward and trying new approaches to styles, and I'm very much still curious in the sound department. When capturing sound, when writing music, that will always be a curiosity of mine. And we've exhausted this means of what these instrumentals can do, and now I'm ready to try something new. So for what it is, this has been a great chapter. I loved every moment of it, which is why I'm giving you even bonus stuff that I found that I love, that I don't want to just disappear into obscurity. These are worth being out there. Enjoy them as I have. I'm rambling too much at this point. I'm gonna wrap it up here, but you guys have a great Christmas, holiday season, New Year's, and I definitely got more stuff coming. Not done yet. So I'll see you guys soon. Stick around for more things, okay? Bye.